Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Parkrose Community United Church of Christ. And let's all say a big thank you for this lovely air conditioning.
Thank you.
This is the first Sunday we've actually got to put it to the test. I think it's pretty good. Today we're taking a special offering for Strengthen the Church. If you need an envelope, can you raise your hand now and an usher will bring one to you? We need one up here in the front. Donna? Okay. Donna is up here in the front. Oh, there we go. This special offering helps new church starts and helps churches that are revitalizing in a process much like we have done. So we like to keep the church going and learning new ways to be church. All right. I also want to take a moment to let you know that our sisters and brothers at First Congregational Church in Vancouver have found temporary space at Congregation Kol Ami, a Jewish congregation in Vancouver, and they'll be worshiping and actually working out of that space for the next probably few months while their building is being restored from the fire. All right, we're glad you're here this morning, and as we say every Sunday, whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. I invite you to stand as you're able and join in our opening songs. First of all, Guide My Feet. As the Spirit gives us gifts from the passage in Romans, and today's focus is on mercy. So there is a very big wideness in God's mercy.
There's no way
we respond together.
We feel encouraged and empowered to be your agents in our neighborhood and world. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
join me? I'm not sure there are any today, except there was. All right, let's sing our song. Oh, come on. This is where children belong. Water, God's word, bread, and cup, prayer and song. This is where children belong. How are all of you today? So today we're talking about love. And you know, Jesus taught us how to love everybody. And I have a great song that I'm going to play for you. And I'm going to ask you to help me out a little bit. So it's called Love is a Song. It goes really fast, but I think I got the words down. So we'll try to sing it. If you can sing it, join us whenever you can. Are you ready?
You know, I think love is really nice.
I love that. Yeah.
And that's exactly what the song is about. Goes fast. Love is a song that's in your heart, it's a joyful melody. When you make a wrong, the song in your heart, you try it, you'll agree. Sing it high, sing it low, sing it everywhere you go. Sing it loud, sing it clear, so that everyone will hear. Love is a song, it's everything along, it becomes a part of you. So sing it to the Lord, and sing your whole life through. Now we're gonna dance. Dance, let's dance. There's only one recording of that song, and it's really fast. But it's a fun song, isn't it? Yeah! Cool. That's a song that's hard to learn. So let's have a prayer before we go to class, all right? Go back to our seats. Dear God, thank you for showing us how to love. Help us have love in our hearts like a beautiful song. In your many beautiful names. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Can I go to Sunday school now?
I'm going to invite Donna to come bring us the morning scripture this morning, and I also want to say thank you to Reverend Lenny Anderson for bringing us the message this morning, and it's a very special one, which I think you're going to appreciate. So, Donna.
This is from Matthew 5:43 to 48. The Sermon on the Mount is found in chapters 5 through 7 of Matthew's Gospel. Included are what some scholars call the 17 great instructions. These are practical, everyday instructions on how we can live into the reign of God. Today's instructions is on loving our neighbors, even those with whom we do not agree. This is a reading from the Gospel of Matthew, beginning in the 5th chapter at the 43rd verse. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be the children of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers and sisters, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. This is the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Amen.
This is the day our God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Try it again. This is the day our God has made.
Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Amen. Thank you. It is the day that God has made, and it is a very special day to me. Every Sunday is a very special day to me, but this one especially so, because my wife Louise and I were married on Saturday evening, June 2nd, 1973. And like all marriages, if we are honest, ours has been a roller coaster. And I would not want the ride with anybody else. Well, one of the ways that I celebrate God's healing grace present in my life and in our marriage is by trying to preach about it as close to that anniversary as I can. And I thank Pastor Don for sharing the pulpit with me this morning. Now, I know that Pastor Don, during this time of Pentecost, has been focusing on the gifts of the Spirit. And I think that the ability to love is one of those gifts. And so that's what I'm going to focus on this morning. Will you pray with me? God, be in our head and our thinking. Be in our eyes and our looking. Be in our ears and in our hearing. Be in our mouths and in our speaking. Dear God, be in our hearts and in our understanding. Amen. Now, the great Scottish poet of the 18th century, Robert Burns, wrote this. Oh, my love, it is a red, red rose, freshly sprung in June. My love, it is a melody, sweetly sung in tune. And this is June. June, late spring, but not quite summer. June, when the melody of the birds is in the trees and in the flowers is the buzzing of the bees, and in a young man's heart, thoughts of love. But not just a young man. Not just a young man. Have you ever heard a teenage girl in love? Excellent. He does this for me, he does that for me. Nobody has ever made me feel like this again. I'm like totally in love. Awesome. Well, perhaps somebody does love her. We don't really know. But we do know this. While she is saying me, 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 she has not yet made the decision to love him. And yes, my friends, love is a decision. Maybe that would be easier to understand if I told you what a feeling is. A feeling is a spontaneous inner reaction to a person, place, or situation. And being spontaneous, it is morally neutral. It's not right or wrong. It's our response that is right or wrong. Well, let me try an example then. Suppose you do something to offend me, and I feel anger. I feel intense, and at least to me, righteous anger. That is neither right nor wrong. But if I express that anger by punching you in the nose, my response is, at a minimum, inappropriate. And maybe a demonstration will work better. Suppose I reach down and pick up this hissing sack of slithery snakes and send it out there amongst you. What are your reactions? Yeah, shock? Maybe fear? Curiosity, perhaps? Humor? Choir can afford to laugh. They're sitting way up there and the snakes are way down here. Whatever your reactions, they're either right or wrong. They're okay. Thank you for not responding to whoever with violence. Here, I'll chase these snakes out of here for you. You see, it's possible to respond in a loving way even when our feelings are anything but loving. And Christ would have us love our enemies, and that's too hard. So let's think of something easier. Let's consider the young mother who wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning because she hears her baby crying in the crib. And this young mother knows that if she gets up and goes to that baby is going to vomit all down the front of her nightgown. She knows this at 5 in the morning because it's what happened at 3 in the morning, it's what happened at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's what happened at 11 o'clock last night, and she does not feel joyful and delighted. She has other feelings, and she has some choices to make. She's tired, exhausted, and she feels frustrated, irritated, maybe even resentful. And so she thinks, I could lie here and let that baby cry. I could push my partner out of bed and say, you go deal with it. But instead, she makes a decision to love. And she gets up and she goes to her child. Let's consider the scoutmaster on a camping trip. Oh, he's had quite a time of it, getting his 8-year-old Cub Scouts to go to bed. And after they're finally in their beds, he and the other counselors stay up too late, too many hot dogs, too many sea stories. And at last, the scoutmaster is just drifting off to sleep when comes to his tent a frightened little boy. And the scoutmaster is annoyed, aggravated, maybe even angry. And yet he gets up, he puts on his jeans, puts a log on the fire, he puts his arm around that little boy, and he tells one more sea story. He has made the decision to love. Sometimes we make the decision to love in spite of our feelings. And sometimes that is very, very hard. You see, it is easy for me to love my wife Louise, when she puts my favorite music on the stereo, cooks my favorite meal, or rubs my back. But it is hard to love her when she criticizes my housekeeping, refuses to go to the boat, or reminds me of a promise that I really do not want to keep. Yet Christ would have me love her anyway. And Christ would have me pray for those who persecute me. And back when I was working as a civil engineer, I tried that. It sounded a little bit like a song of lament. It sounded a little bit like this. Oh Lord, I am sorely persecuted by my supervisor. He descends upon me like the eagle upon a salmon. He defames my drawings and he defaces them with his pencil of lead. Woe is me, Lord. Make my supervisor wither away. I don't believe that's what Christ had in mind. But I do believe that it is possible to pray for our adversaries. It is possible to pray that they find such peace and we find such peace that the issue will wither away. I believe it is possible to learn to love our neighbors as ourselves even when we don't like them very much. I believe it is possible to extend a hand across the table, to walk across the street, and to send this hope throughout the entire world. I also believe we first have to bring it into our own hearts and our own homes. And so I will tell you how I bring it into my home. I start my day with a disagreement with my wife. And I get into my truck and I head for town. And I am thinking about all the other past wrongs that she has done me. all the issues that we have had, all of the disappointments. And I start planning how I'm going to win this argument when I get home. And I cut somebody off on the freeway. And he has two choices. He can either make the decision to love me and pray that I arrive at my destination without doing any harm to myself or others, or he can shake his fist at me or greet me with some other American gesture and then drive the town in such a way as to challenge other people's decisions to love him. That's his choice. But I also had a choice. I start my morning with a disagreement with my wife. And I get into my truck and I head for town. And I am thinking about all her good qualities, all of her endearing qualities, all of the things that make me cherish and adore her, all the good times that we've had. Now, this change in my perspective does not change Louise. And in and of itself, it does not even resolve the issue. But by changing my own attitude, I can change the quality of my evening. And that's what I mean by the decision to love. It is the decision to care about the other person. The decision to look for the best in the other person. The decision to make the other person's needs and desires as important as my own.
Amen.
That is a decision to love, and it's a decision that I try to make daily. And not just in my marriage, but in every contact that I have with another person. I am confronted by the decision to love in the marketplace and in the voting booth. I am confronted by the decision to love when my neighbor needs to borrow my truck or when the homeless person needs me to look them in the eye. In every interaction with another person, God gives me the opportunity to love. And there are examples in every one of my relationships. Now, to return for a moment to my marital relationship, you might ask me if this daily decision to love somehow takes the place of my everlasting vows. No, not at all. Rather, it is the way that I give them flesh and blood, the way I make them come alive, make them powerful, and make them visible in the world. I would like you to believe that I have always known this. I would like that, but it wouldn't be true. But, since I have discovered this, I have found that I have a much better relationship with the world, and with my wife, and with myself, and with my God. Because you see, friends, love is not something that I feel. It is something that I do. Love is what the other feels when I do as I should. Love is not something that I feel. It is something that I do. Love is what the others feels when I do what I should. And so, friends, this morning, I invite all of you to make the decision to love. I invite you to start a conversation with a neighbor or a colleague by shaking hands and saying, you know, the thing I admire most about you is, and if there